Hey everybody. Mike and Big E once again, Wrestling Ramble, episode 20. I miss NXT.
I do too. It's been like clip packages for like 2 weeks now.
I need more Gable and Jordan in my life.
Although we got a little sight of that earlier on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The Beast showed up once again on Monday Night Raw this past week. No NXT, but Raw was in full effect. It was a all hands on deck type of night. We saw the Vigilante Sting be announced as the first inductee into the 2016 Hall of Fame. I think it's a very deserved induction.
I think so too.
Do you have any prediction for the next induction? Is there anybody else who you see getting inducted in this year's class?
I'm not too sure, only because I don't know who's already inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Throw a name out there.
Well, I mean, obviously Stone Cold probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have no idea who would be. What are your thoughts on crown candidates for next Hall of Fame?
Well, I'd have to agree with the consensus. I honestly think the Fabulous Freebirds, Buddy Jack Roberts, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and Michael P.S. Hayes, they made up the Freebirds, the model that today's New Day is taking and running with. They definitely deserve an induction. They're instrumental in world-class championship wrestling and so much more. But anyway, I have a feeling that at least one of them, all three, but anyway, at least one of them will get inducted this year. At least I hope. Aside from that, I mean, if Rikishi can get inducted last year, who knows who's next? Maybe X-Pac? I don't know. Hurricane? Oh, right on. Paul Heyman was on Raw this week.
Oh yeah.
So Paul Heyman once again makes his return to WWE, and he's always a welcome sight. Paul is always lights out. I feel like anytime Paul has the camera's attention, he's always the center of attention. He's always the scene stealer. No one ever outshines Paul. Does anyone ever outshine Paul?
Brock Lesnar, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
But not on the mic.
No. But in every other regard, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree, 100%. We saw Paul Heyman getting into a little bit of a dispute with the boss and his daughter. Vince and Stephanie having some arguments with Paul over Paul's client's contract. And this is something that every fan knows is actually based very much in reality. So what is your opinion of this more, dare I say it, shoot-oriented storytelling style for WWE, where the storylines are less ridiculous and more actually kind of based in fact?
Well, I think it's a good change because I feel like we've seen a little too much ridiculousness from the WWE over the past little while, so I'd say it's a welcome change.
Is it an appropriate amount right now? Should there be more? Should there be less?
I'd say it's an appropriate amount.
Okay. So let's say a year from now, just fantasy booking. Is WWE going to be even more realistic, do you think? Because before we started today's show, we were talking about how a year ago, right before Rumble, literally a year ago, WWE was very different from the way it is now. And I would imagine it's probably going to change a lot more. So what do you think about the way the storytelling is going to go? Is it going to become super gritty and realistic? Like, is it going to be like The Revenant? Or is it going to be, more or less the same? Or are we going to head back towards things? Because you have to admit, we've seen all throughout the history the fact that the product has kind of gone in waves, where it'll be really silly for a while, then it'll be more serious for a while, then it'll be silly again. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I have a feeling they're probably just gonna keep doing it in waves unless they find a certain silly angle or a certain serious angle that works well.
What's the last really good serious angle that comes to mind that was just killer? I guess you could call the Brock versus Taker angle mostly serious.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It was occasionally silly, like when they both sat up and laughed at each other.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
But you have to have a little bit of silliness in there because they were totally destroying each other.
It's pro wrestling. Like you'll see certain indie promotions are like extra serious, where they make it like a death match, you know, where it's all about the violence and breaking weapons over each other and as much blood as possible. That's not what wrestling's all about. If you want that, just watch MMA for goodness sakes.
Pretty much.
Wrestling is supposed to be a little bit silly. Am I right? What's first thing comes to mind? What superstar in the WWE roster today best embodies that balance between levity and seriously representing the business?
I feel I might be biased in saying this, but I could see somewhat of that in Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
He's pretty silly, but well, he can be silly at some points because of his whole lunatic character, but
he recently has found the balance really well. Like in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Absolutely. It's funny, my answer was gonna be Seth. It's almost like when Seth left, Dean picked up right where he left off.
Pretty much.
That's what it seemed to me. Also on the program this week, we saw Charlotte about to face Brie Bella in a match when all of a sudden Becky Lynch comes out and attacks her. Kind of shades of Stone Cold.
Yeah. Stone Cold.
What do you think of that?
I like it. I've been waiting for something to happen because they've been kind of building up to this for weeks now, and now the heat's finally boiled over.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not yet boiled quite over.
Well, not quite over.
The lid is still in the pot, but it's janky.
Yeah.
It's gonna blow over in 2 weeks, of course, at the pay-per-view. Are we gonna see a title change? Are we gonna see a new woman holding the Divas Championship after the Rumble?
I hope so.
I feel like it's fast approaching, to be honest with you. Charlotte being a first-time champion, I don't think it's appropriate for her to have an excessively long run. Like, I have to admit, Seth getting almost, it was like, 8 or 9 months? That's really long for a first reign. And unusually long, to be honest. And just, going through history, in my honest personal opinion, I don't think Charlotte should keep the title for longer than one more pay-per-view. Not because Charlotte is a bad worker or because she's poorly representing the business or the title or anything like that. It's just because there's a lot of other really hungry talent in that division right now, and it's in my personal opinion, it's in everyone's best interest if she shares the burden and of course the accolades that come along with that title to everyone's best interest. So if she drops the title to Becky, then all of a sudden, in my honest opinion, that's going to give their feud more fuel. If Charlotte just hangs on to it, then she's fast on her way to becoming a new Nikki Bella.
Pretty much.
And Nikki Bella, looking back on it retrospectively, I get the impression that the reason why the booking was so crummy at times was strictly so she could win the record.
Pretty much.
And we don't need to do that.
And it was just Paige getting buried by Nikki Bella over and over and over.
Hey, speaking of Paige, do you know where she is right now?
Nope.
I was reading earlier today that both her and Sasha Banks, our absolute favorite, are unfortunately both injured. They both have mild concussions.
Oh.
But I guess that's okay because a mild concussion is much better than pretty much any other injury that we've heard of recently. They don't need any surgery or anything. They just need to rest for a while. And resting for a little while is probably good for WWE superstars, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
So Paige is back home in England, just chilling, and Sasha, I guess, is back home as well. They have both been told to follow WWE's very strict concussion protocol, their wellness policy, and they're going to be examined and slowly but surely reintroduced to the roster whenever their medical staff feels they're appropriately healed. So my question to you is, do you feel like this is too much caution, or is this level of caution warranted?
I'd say that level of caution is warranted.
So you wouldn't change anything the way it is?
No, I don't think so.
I agree. I'm glad you said that, because thinking about it, the way WWE does now, where they're actually willing to take people off the road and give them time to rest and give them a break, it just opens up the door for more talent. And it keeps the audience engaged because it doesn't get stale or stagnant.
Exactly.
That's right. Oh yeah, New Day was on the program last night.
Yes.
Yes, New Day finally seem to have met their match verbally in the form of Y2J. So how... Okay, obviously Chris has told us he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match. Is it safe to assume that we're going to see him in some sort of continued capacity in WWE's regular duty roster from after Rumble?
I feel like it's possible, but for some reason I feel like it's not going to happen. I feel like he might just show up again for Royal Rumble, and then it seems like Chris Jericho's kind of just been showing up whenever. Because like there was that one time where he showed up and jobbed to Braun Strowman, and then there was one other time, but I can't quite remember.
He appeared in that one match against Neville in Japan.
Oh yes, that's right.
That's about all we saw of Chris last year. And that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, it is.
So the Dudleys were brought in to put New Day over. Seems like Y2J has been brought in to put New Day over. Maybe we'll see like the Dudleys and Chris Jericho, ECW, something. I don't know. That makes 3 people. They're all of the same age group. Regardless, I like the vibe that the feud has right now, simply because I read something online earlier today. The feud right now has a duality to it, and what I mean by that is, on the one hand, we have the heel New Day against the babyface Chris Jericho. While Chris Jericho is a babyface to the casual fan, and New Day are heels to the casual fans, the opposite is true for the Marks. It's really interesting, and I can't off the top of my head think of any other examples like that right now. Maybe Cena and CM Punk, I suppose, to an extent.
Yeah.
But regardless, I like where it's headed for the time being, as long as they don't milk it too much and make it get stale. And
Rudy Tooty Booty.
like you and I talk about all the time, New Day is always like one bad segment away from being bad again.
Yeah.
But then again, who isn't? That's the way WWE is.
Or they have a segment that goes on just a few minutes too long and is way too bad.
That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad Bo Dallas took the microphone out of Curtis Axel's hands last week, because he was about one sentence away from going too far.
Yeah. I think Adam Rose was like, after his second word, it was one word too many.
And we won't be seeing him cutting a promo again anytime soon. Speaking of social outcasts, Bo Dallas getting to get in the ring, at least get in the ring with his brother, but not get a chance to actually wrestle him. One of these days it will happen.
One day.
One day. But instead, predictably, it was basically just the social outcasts getting tossed around by Braun Strowman and the rest of the Wyatt family.
Until they were interrupted.
By Ryback!
Yes.
Only Ryback is strong enough to interrupt all 4 members of the Wyatt family. You know, I actually repressed those memories until you said they were interrupted.
Yeah.
Vince, come on. Are you listening? Like, you set it up really good, and then you totally lose me in the finishing blow.
Like, I almost forgot the whole Ryback and Big Show thing even happened, and then it was like, oh, Ryback's like angry about last week, and I was like, oh, I didn't even remember that happened, because that was just like, wasn't that just sort of a whole jobber convention, and then Big Show and Ryback were both there, and they got into like a little scrap?
You know, it's usual Big Show one punching everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he one punched Heath later, and that was the beginning of his push. Big Show is like that heel that is just interchangeable, and you can put him at any spot at any time. And I feel like Ryback is quickly becoming that in a babyface capacity.
Yeah,
Like, you just send him out. Feed me more.
The big guy's always looking for a fight.
And the big guys, I want to try to just listen. And the big guy's always hungry. The veins are popping out of my neck. Feed me more. Aside from that silliness, we saw actually a fairly memorable moment in Raw history. Who would have thought that at the end of the night, Alberto Del Rio was going to drop the United States title to Kalisto?
I definitely didn't see it coming.
No. The fact that Kalisto beat him last week clean, it's like the classic WWE booking. When that happens the previous week, and they'll say, oh, well, can't possibly happen 2 weeks in a row. can't possibly have title changes on Raw. What's with all these title changes on Raw all of a sudden? Just because we don't expect it. We don't expect aliens either. Are we gonna see aliens in the future? In WWE?
Maybe soon enough the titles are gonna change hands on SmackDown.
Crazy land. We're going crazy. It was
Go to the Ambrose Asylum.
That's how I've been very vocal about the fact that I don't really like the Ambrose Asylum thing. I think it's really silly, but it's so silly that it makes me laugh. So I guess it's worth something. Good job, I guess, Vince. Anyway, the match. Alberto and Kalisto had a really good match. It was short, but it was tremendous. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was actually a lot better than when Alberto won the United States title from John Cena.
Yeah, because he kind of just brutally kicked John's head off and then took that U.S. title.
And that was it.
Sweet.
Yes. Honestly, this doesn't hurt Alberto as a performer.
No.
Because he's getting better and better, and he's already won it all and done it all. I mean, this is an opportunity to make somebody new. And Kalisto, the fire is burning hot inside that kid. Like when you see him cut that promo yesterday, he was talking about Eddie Guerrero and how heated he was about that. That got me excited. So
yeah, it got me excited too.
Yeah, rest in peace, Eddie. And big things that hopefully ahead for Kalisto. That really is the body of the show. Let's talk about the main event. For the children at home, please describe the main event real quick.
Well, it was a 1 versus all match. Roman Reigns against, I forget how many exactly.
All the heel factions. And Kevin.
Yeah, although it ended up being like 99% Kevin Owens. And then I forget how the match ended.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course. How can I forget that? Brock Lesnar just shows up and suplexes everybody.
Literally everybody. Everybody he get his hands on. Not like Tyler Breeze or anybody.
No. Just everyone who was in the close vicinity of the Beast went straight to suplex.
Straight. Even Kevin got sent to suplex it. Didn't pass go, did not collect $200. And in the end, Brock hits Roman with a huge F5 in the middle of the ring. So, what have we learned today, class? If at the end of the night, Brock Lesnar's standing tall and he puts his finish on the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I think it's safe to assume that Brock's going over, brother.
Yeah, he's coming for that belt. Unless, like, the whole Wyatt family bands together in the Rumble somehow to put a stop to the Beast.
I'm really glad you brought that up because at the very beginning of the show, to set up this 1 versus all match that Biggie just told you about, it was Vince and Stephanie addressing the entire WWE roster when all of a sudden the lights go off and the Wyatts appear at ringside. And you notice how Stephanie and Vince were just like, they didn't even second guess it?
No.
They're like, oh, the Wyatts are here. Alright. I feel like that may have been foreshadowing because what you just said makes perfect sense. It's really the only possible way. Because League of Nations is what, disbanded? Because we haven't seen Barrett in a while.
No, we haven't seen Barrett, and you know, they've been kind of looking a little weak too. No title on Sheamus, no title on ADR now. They've
Rusev MIA.
Like their only accolade really was, you know, Barrett being King of the Ring, but he's just gone.
He gone. Are they going to do King of the Ring this year? It was such a debacle last year.
Yeah, I hope they do it. I hope it's going to be someone decent.
King Bro.
King Truth.
I'm serious right now. I'm serious. They're probably going to put it on Neville.
Neville, I could see.
And it's going to bury him. Because he's going to have to wear all the silly gimmicks. And it's gonna look really bad.
Just because he's from the UK.
Yes, it's like we were talking about earlier. Only the British people get to wear the king gimmick, and only the black people get to do the comedy, and only the pale white people get to be chums with Vince McMahon.
Yo, King Booker did.
Oh, okay. Booker and the pale white people.
Although I mean, that was kind of a bit silliness too. I feel like in general, the King of the Ring is just kind of leads to silliness.
Unless you're Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
In which case, it leads to Austin 316 and superstardom.
Yeah. True. Nowadays, in the recent years, the King of the Ring has kind of gone downhill.
Let's drink one last final toast to your bygone era of wrestling. let's get out of here.
All right.
So, for the rapid fire segment of tonight's program, question number 1. Because it's been a common theme in the past few weeks, and because things have been changing so often and so much, can you tell me right now what the main event for Mania will be?
The main event for me.
Yeah.
I mean, unless for some reason, like, I'm thinking right now of Brock taking the title. Unless someone...
Is he going to win the title in the Rumble?
It's looking that way.
Yes, it is.
But, you know, there's always those two balls that we play. If for some reason Brock ends up being champion and he doesn't lose the belt, if he's someone who Brock Lesnar, as Paul Heyman very well knows, it's going to move into
Can't really say any better than that. Alright, Big Man, last question. Now that Sasha and Paige are injured for the time being, and it seems almost inevitable that Becky Lynch is going to become the Divas Champion sometime soon, kind of book the women's division for, you know, from Rumble onwards, because right now it's a two-woman show. It's like Team Bad doesn't even get on television unless Sasha's with them.
pretty much. Even the Bellas have kind of just been like, they've just been jobbers.
Yes, they have. They've just been jobbers.
This is maybe
So what's going to happen? Are we going to get a call-up from NXT? Because NXT's women's division looks outrageously strong right now.
yeah, it does.
It really does, in every way, yeah. They actually have like well-defined characters of every kind. Right from your sugary sweet baby face to your monster face.
Pretty much. And I feel like I would say it would be a good time to hold up, but I also feel like it wouldn't, it's not the right time in NXT right now for that to happen. Because, you know, she still has the title and that's going to throw them. But then again, there's, you know, Nia Jax, Asuka, all those other...
Emma, don't forget Emma.
Yeah. Can't forget. And, yeah, there's just plenty of other talent that could very easily fill the women's champion spot.
You're right about that. Anything else you want to add before we sign off for the evening?
I can't think of anything. I think we've got it.
Alright. Well, in that case, we got stuff to do, so we're going to need to get going. But we'll see y'all next week.